Hey guys, it's Holly and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do a bit more of a real serious sit down talking to you guys video about mental illness. So today I wanted to focus on depression, and I have 15 things that I personally do to help me cope with depression when I'm at my worst points, and hopefully these things can help you as well. I know how unmotivating and just how destructive depression is. I have dealt with severe mental illness, and especially depression, for my entire life, and as I've gotten older it's gotten worse. One thing I do want to mention before I get into this is none of these things are going to cure depression. There is no quick fix for when you are feeling depressed. That is something you do have to realize, and you do have to accept about it. It might take you a while to accept that, but it is just like the plain truth. There's nothing you can do that's going to completely fix you of depression straight away. It does take time, and it's kind of like having a broken bone. It takes time to heal, and you can't just do something to fix the bone. You have to wait it out and wait for it to heal, and it will heal, but you have to look after yourself in the meantime. So I've got my teddy bear here with me sitting on my lap. I don't know if you know, but like over a year ago I used to make all my videos on my bed with my teddy bear sitting like on my lap, like right here. You can't really see him, he's not really in frame, but he's here. And I just wanted to talk to you guys about some things that personally make me feel better. And just before I get into that, I'm not like an expert, I'm not a counsellor, I'm not a doctor or anything like that. These are just things that I personally find make me feel a lot better and help me cope without being destructive to myself, which is what a lot of people with depression end up doing because it's so hard to deal with, me included. I've done some really bad things to myself in the past, so it's kind of like a more positive way of dealing with depression. This video is a mixture of things that I found myself that really helped me with depression, and things that doctors and therapists and specialists have all told me to do to try and help myself. And so yeah, these are 15 different things that I do when I am feeling at my worst and don't have any motivation and just feel like absolute shit. And so I really hope these things can help you like they help me, and maybe make you feel a little bit better or be able to cope a little bit better with the mental illness that you have. It's really hard for me to talk about this. I don't know, I planned what I was going to say for so long, but it's just something that hits way too close to home for me sometimes. So yeah, anyways, let's just get started. So without further ado, let's get on to the video. The first tip I have for you guys is to find an outlet. Find a way where you can let your emotions out. So things that I personally love doing is writing poetry, or even just writing, and just writing down the deepest, darkest thoughts you have, or exactly how you're feeling, and in writing those sorts of things, I always find that I feel as though since I put it on paper, it's no longer as much inside me. This is my old poetry book. It is completely filled up with all of these poems I've written. I started this book in 2014 and I finished this book in 2017 at the start of this year. So it's got 3 years of poetry which I've used at my worst points, and looking back on it, you kind of like, when you get out of such a depressive state and you start feeling better, and you look back and you look through what you went through beforehand, and you see how dark or how upset you were, it kind of makes you feel stronger because you got through that. And that's kind of like why I always keep track of my poems. A lot of people might just write things down and throw it in, like scrunch it up and throw it in the bin, or like set it on fire and like just destroy it or rip it up. For me, I like to file these things away and then look back at them when I'm feeling better and I just feel like I've overcome something. Other things you can use as an outlet is drawing and painting, turning something that is so horrible and upsetting into something beautiful and creative. That's something I personally love doing. I paint every single day, and it's one of my favorite things to do ever. I also love like singing sad songs and just belting them out to my lungs, even if it doesn't sound good at all, or dancing. My next tip for you guys is to sit down with an animal. I know not everyone can do this because not everyone has pets and things like that, but honestly, animals are such caring creatures, and whenever I'm sad, I just get my dog, who's literally sitting right in front of me, and I would just give him the biggest hugs and kisses, same with my cat, and it just makes me feel so much better. Animals are amazing like that, where they know if something's wrong and they will try and like comfort you and things like that, and so I think that's a real beautiful way of trying to feel better. The next tip I have is to watch a movie that makes you feel good. I always fall into the trap of watching really sad movies, but now I've learned that when I feel sad I need to watch something that's uplifting. Some of the movies I like to watch are like some of the Disney classics, like I love the Aristocats or like 101 Dalmatians. Even like more of the modern like Disney animated movies like Tangled and things like that. Movies that are just kind of made to make you feel better about yourself. I also love really inspiring like biographical movies, like The Blind Side, if you guys have seen that. It's one of my favorite movies ever. It always empowers me and makes me feel inspired and gets me in a better mood. So watching movies that are kind of like that and make you feel a lot happier are definitely things you should turn to. This next one is what helped me through my darkest years, back when I was still in high school. And so what I used to do is whenever I was feeling really sad, I would run myself a bath or have a really long shower. I personally prefer a bath though because it kind of enables your whole body to relax, and it also feels like a physical cleanse. It's kind of as though you're cleansing yourself physically, which helps kind of with your mental health in the way that you just feel like new and cleaner. And one thing I love to do in baths is to put in a bath bomb. My first or favourite bath bomb is a Twilight bath bomb from Lush. That's because it's purple and it has lavender in it. Lavender is a very calming scent. It's a scent that will help you sleep at night. Like I used to put lavender, like essence or lavender oil on my temples at night when I couldn't sleep, and it would help relax you. And also the colour purple is scientifically proven to be a calming colour. So like sitting in a purple bath smelling lavender, you can put bubble bath in there as well and things like that, is just such a beautiful way of relaxing and just fully switching off and just kind of being in my own little safe warm purple bubble. This next one is to make yourself feel better on the outside. Even though depression is very much on the inside, sometimes it really helps to kind of pamper yourself or make yourself feel more beautiful on the outside. Whenever I'm depressed, I'm always very tempted to just wear my ugliest clothes and stay in bed all day, don't touch makeup, don't clean myself, don't do anything to help myself at all, and I just feel like shit for a very long time. But I've found that putting on a face mask or doing a full face of makeup or putting on a really nice outfit and dressing up, even if I'm just gonna sit in my room all day, makes me feel a little bit more put together. This one's kind of hard to explain, but one thing I have found over the years is that I really like actually pampering myself and taking care of myself outwardly. Just making myself feel more beautiful or more presentable on the outside, because sometimes that just helps with my inner emotions and I feel more put together. The next tip is to talk to someone. I know this can be really hard. I know that not everyone has someone that they can talk to about things like this, whether it's a friend or a parent or a grandparent or a sibling, even a dog or a therapist. If you're still in school, go see the school counsellor. It's their job to be there for you, and talking to someone about things, it's just a way of getting things off your chest, and you might end up with some advice and some things that can help you through what you're going through at this moment in time. But I personally just love talking to people about it. It's something that I have really worked my way up to being able to do, because when I was younger I wouldn't talk to anyone about my feelings at all. I just bottled them up and I just got so much sadder because I just felt like I didn't have anyone I could talk to. But then when I actually went out of my way and found people I could talk to about it, you'd find that you're definitely not alone. A lot of my friends go through the same thing that I go through, and because of that we support each other. And I know I have people I can always talk to about things, especially my mum. I talk to her about pretty much everything, and my therapist. So it's really important to try and find someone you can talk to about things, because it definitely will make you feel less alone. The next tip is to go outside. I am guilty of wanting to just stay under the covers all day and not get out of bed and just try and sleep away the days, but that's really not a good way of looking at things. Going outside is refreshing, even on days when it's rainy. I like going outside and just admiring things you don't usually admire. Like I'll go and sit in my backyard and I'll be like, oh, that flower is really beautiful. I didn't realise the grass was that green. That tree is really tall. Oh, look at those birds. Oh, listen to the birds. Like you just kind of like just focus on all the little things that you see around you that you usually don't look at. And I don't know, just being outside is like a really beautiful change of scenery, and you'll kind of just look at little things you didn't even like notice before, and it just makes your life feel a little bit more beautiful. There's something about being outside that always just makes me feel a lot better and a lot freer and a lot fresher. So I'd highly recommend going outside, even if you're just going to sit down on your deck or in your backyard and just watch the world around you, and you kind of feel as though you actually are a part of the world, because depression can feel quite isolating. So that's something that I love doing. This next tip is to go and see a friend and catch up, get a coffee, go out for a meal, go watch a movie. It's very easy to completely isolate yourself when you are feeling depressed, and you just feel like you just feel as though no one wants to be around you. But I can assure you that is just part of depression. It just makes you feel as though you are worthless and no one wants to hang out with you. But I can assure you that there is at least one person that really wants to be there for you and really wants to help out with you. And it's so easy to distance yourself from the people that really care about you because you just don't care about yourself, so you don't expect anyone to want to be there for you. But it is really important to keep those friendships for when you're feeling better, so you can go out and enjoy yourself again with your friends. And so that's something I would highly recommend doing. Number 9 is to just listen to upbeat music. It is really easy to just listen to sad music because that's how you're feeling, but I would recommend looking on Spotify or whatever like music device app you use and looking for playlists that are uplifting and have music that is made to inspire you and to make you feel better. I personally like listening to instrumentals because I feel like that way I can kind of, it doesn't make me think anything in particular, but just like the changes in the journey of the music is something I kind of imagine in my head, and it flows, and my thoughts flow to the music, and that always makes me happier. So that is something that I would highly recommend to anyone that is also feeling depressed at this time. Tip number 10 is to cry. If you feel like crying, don't stop yourself from crying because that's not going to help you. Bottling up your feelings can be so self-destructive. From experience, I used to just try and ignore my feelings and completely neglect my emotion and how depressed I was. And if I felt like crying, I would force myself not to cry. I would do everything I possibly could to not cry, and I would just feel even worse afterwards. But you're allowed to cry. You're allowed to let your feelings out. We have feelings for a reason, and our feelings are supposed to be let out. You're not supposed to oppress them because that's not going to help you. So if you feel like crying, cry. You're allowed to. Crying isn't a sign of weakness. Being depressed isn't a sign of weakness. It is just something that happens and something that you can't do anything about to fix, and something you just have to wait out until things start to get better, and they will get better, but you are allowed to cry. Don't ever, I know so many people that try their best not to cry, and me included. I used to do this all the time, but if you feel like crying, cry. You're allowed to. This next tip I find is extremely important, and it is to take some time out for yourself. Whether you're at school or whether you're working, depression is the same as any other illness. It's the same as having the flu or having any other physical illness, because it is something that will hinder your ability to go to school and to pay attention and to learn as much as you would when you were feeling better. And if you can take a sick day off for having the flu, you're allowed to take a sick day off for being depressed. And this is something that people don't really understand, is that mental illnesses are just as debilitating, physically draining and painful as physical illnesses. So if you're at work or if you go to school, you are allowed to take a day off and just focus on yourself and focus on bettering yourself, because if you just keep oppressing it and going to school and going throughout your daily life like you always would, you're not going to feel any better. You're just going to be pressured into doing your job or doing school and listening to teachers and doing homework and stuff when you really just don't feel as though you can physically do it. But because it's mental illness, there's always this taboo around, like, I'm not actually sick, like physically, and it's not the same thing. But in reality, it is the same thing. And if you can't work when you've got the flu, you can't work when you're depressed. It's something that society needs to kind of get their heads around a little bit more. This next tip is also really important, and it is to remember to eat. It kind of goes two ways. For a lot of people, when they're depressed, food is their comfort, and it's what they turn to. And they'll just eat and eat and eat until they're like super full, and there's nothing wrong with that. When you're feeling depressed, if you find something that comforts you like food, then totally go for it. But if you're someone like me, when I get really depressed, I tend to not eat, and it's not because I'm trying to not eat, it's just because I just don't find the energy to get out of bed and make myself food, or I just can't be bothered going and sitting up at the dinner table with my family and eating. But then I find I have no energy and I just feel even worse. So eating is very important, even if it's just something small. As long as you're eating 3 meals a day and you're actually getting energy with food, energy will help your mental health because it will give you more energy to try and do things to make you feel better. So I would highly recommend just to remember to eat, and to eat whatever you want. Don't try and restrict yourself. Don't try and like hate yourself for eating too much. Don't like get angry at yourself for eating too much, because you really need food if you want to feel better, because you need energy to help you feel better, and the way we get energy as human beings is from food. So if you don't eat food, it's pretty much like you're just being self-destructive and you're not enabling yourself to feel better, or to help you cope a little bit more. So eating food is very, very important. This next tip I have may sound stupid, but it actually is scientifically proven to help you guys feel better, and that is to smile. Literally just put on the cheesiest, fakest grin that you possibly can. Look in the mirror and just smile until you start laughing at yourself because of how ridiculous you feel. It all goes with the saying, fake it till you make it. And I've read an article before about scientists proving that if someone just sits somewhere and just smiles, and smiles as like the cheesiest, brightest, biggest smile you possibly can, you will start feeling a little bit happier. This is also something that is often practiced in meditation, where you'll just be sitting there and then you put on this really, really big grin, and you just kind of feel some positive energy kind of like overcome you, and it's a really cool way, and it's really cool in the way that that works. So it's something I would highly recommend to you guys if you haven't tried it before, because as stupid as it may feel, or as stupid as it may seem, it really does help. This next one is something that I try and do every single day when I am feeling sad or in one of my biggest slumps, and just to go for a walk or for a run. Doing physical exercise makes you feel better on the outside, which also helps you feel better on the inside. You feel better about yourself because it's something that you've done, it's something productive that you've done. So whenever I'm feeling sad, I'll take my dog and I'll take him for a walk to the park. It doesn't even have to be a long walk, it can be a 10-minute walk, and just getting outside and just doing something for your physical health makes you feel a lot better. You could even go to the gym and do a workout at the gym, or go for a swim, or do some yoga. Anything like that is just something that's going to help you feel better on the outside. And mental health kind of is something where everything you do, whether it be physical or mental, is going to affect your mental health. So if you positively impact your physical health by going for a walk or going for a run or doing a workout, does actually help your mental health, because feeling better on the outside will help you feel better on the inside. And this last tip is what I personally find to be the most important of them all, and that is to not be afraid to ask for help. There is still a taboo, it's 2017, but there is still a taboo about mental health, and people are scared to ask for help. Like, they don't have like mental health problems on their medical record, or they're too scared to see a doctor about things because you don't want other people to find out. But that taboo needs to go, because having a mental illness is the same as having the flu, or being sick physically, or having a broken leg or something like that. It needs to be fixed and looked after the same way that anything physical does. So if you would go to the doctor for a broken leg, or because you're sick to get some medication, then there's no excuse for you not to go to a doctor and get help with low mood and depression and things like that. So that's something that I personally cannot recommend enough. It is so, so, so important to go and ask for help, especially if you feel as though you are going to hurt yourself, or you're just like completely unable to look forward and you just can't even get yourself out of bed. The best thing you can possibly do is to ask for help, even if you're just asking your parents for help or a friend for help, and then go into a doctor and then get a therapist or something, because that can honestly change your life, and I cannot stress that enough. So those are my 15 tips to help you cope a little bit more with depression. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful and useful, and if you have any other tips that you do that I missed out on my list, then please leave them down below, because I'm sure that anyone that has come to watch this video would love to get as many tips as possible. So if you've got anything that I'd missed out, please leave it in the comments, and I'm sure it would help someone else out as well. Most importantly, I just want you guys to spread positive vibes, because you never really know what anyone else is going through. And I really hope that if you are feeling really upset or really depressed at this moment in time, I really hope that you stay strong and you focus on yourself and you allow yourself to have some time off, and I really hope you start feeling better sometime soon. I know how horrible it feels, I know how lonely and isolating depression is, but I hope that some of these little things can help you guys feel a little bit better. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and that you start feeling better very, very soon. Smile, be safe, and stay beautiful, guys. I'll see you in my next video. Adios.